Yeah, who the heck am I, right?
Yes.
Why the heck am I here? Gosh. Well, first of all, thank you everyone so much for having me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Doyle. If you want, you can call me Annie, like I'm not an orphan. So, public speaking, why? And why am I in it? So, it's really interesting because, Yolanda and I were talking before we jumped on, and I really, to be honest, was not that kid that talked a lot, to be completely honest with you. When I was in school, I was kind of that quiet kid, but I talked when I needed to. And I think when I started realizing that I had a voice was in high school, because high school is amazing and you start learning that you have a mouth. And my parents probably were not happy I learned that. But, as I went through high school as well as college, I was finding you had to present a lot more. And it was one of those things that I was like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. I can, but I'm not really. Then all of a sudden, I get into my job. Now, my job primarily has been marketing PR and mainly promotional events. And through those events, I noticed that, for me to promote anyone, I needed to have them there. And I noticed a lot of people, even though they were severely intelligent, had a really tough time getting up and talking to people. So I really started diving into that and realizing, I remember the first time talking on a microphone. And I mean, that in and of itself was the biggest mind twist I think I've ever had in my life, because all of a sudden it was a 500 group people and it was a chili cook off. And my boss said, here, announce something. I had never talked on a microphone before. And all of a sudden I'm just kind of sitting there like, oh no, this is a lot of people. And now I have to talk into a microphone. So I said hello and I was like, oh my gosh, did I really sound like that? So what's amazing is you learn as you grow, is my biggest opinion. But also public speaking is something that it's not as scary as people think it is. It's just a tool that we have not used. And it's something that we have not, sorry, no pun intended, verbalized enough. We are taught at a young age, you need to be quiet and you need to listen. Well, listening is part of the equation. Talking is probably the other part. Now, some people are like, yeah, I've always been a chatty Cathy. I was a chatty Cathy to my parents. Yeah, right. I was a chatty Cathy to my family and friends, but in school, like I had to kind of get the lay of the land. And then, if I had an opinion, I would say it. I never had that a problem, but I was never that person that was always talking. And as I'm finding now, I'm finding that public speaking is probably the best tool in my arsenal I could have, but it's something you have to work on. Now, on the flip side, so my career has mainly been marketing PR, and I went to school for English creative writing, a minor in history, and then I went to graduate school at John Carroll, actually, and finished with a master's in communication management. And through my master's program, everything you were talking. But on the flip side, I have been a figure skater for 13 plus years, and I found that performing really helped a lot too. Because think about it, the biggest thing about getting up in front of people, you don't want to fail and you don't want to look like a fool. That's probably one of the biggest fears people have. And you have to remember, just because you are in your head doesn't mean everybody else is. So get out of your head. That's going to be my first point. Okay. Remember, you are an amazing, awesome person, and you have a story to tell. You have a way of presenting to. Let the world see that. And just because you are afraid to go up on stage does not mean that everybody that is in the audience are not there to support you. Every single person in that audience is there to support you, whether you are online or if you are in person. Or you can do like what I do, and I stack the audience with my family and friends because they have to like me and love me. So, that's something else that you can do. So you have to remember that everybody in that audience is there to support you. So get that fear of failing out of your mind. Get out of your head. You are going to be the worst roadblock when it comes to public speaking. Practice. That's my second one. Practice. Practice, practice, practice. When I was in any of my sports, I could swim before I could walk. I was figure skating forever. Now, so at about 23, I stopped skating. And of course, I'm 25 forever. So of course, it wasn't too long ago that I stopped figure skating. But when I stopped figure skating, I realized I didn't have a sport. I always had a sport. Well, fast forward a few years, I being in promotional events, I was always the first person there and the last person to leave, right? Well, there are a lot of fun situations I got myself into that weren't really planned. It was just because I was by myself and there were probably some creepers that I just didn't want to be around, right? So I went into self-defense class. Well, that self-defense, I ended up going in thinking, okay, I'm just gonna do self-defense, I'm done. Well, 9 years later, I am a third-degree brown belt within Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Helson Gracie Cleveland, and I will be the first female black belt out of that school, as well as, I know, let's do the whoop, mm-hmm. But I have to be like, really calm, cool, and collected, like, yeah, that's really cool, right? But and I don't say that, well, I say that because I am super proud of myself, right? And we do have to toot our own horn sometime because, especially women, we downgrade ourselves. Don't. When you have an accomplishment, I want you to scream it from the top of the mountaintops because, my God, girl, that was amazing that you were able to do that. And for me, myself, I never thought I would be able to not only be in a martial art, I am teaching this martial art as well. I am somebody that is able to go in and not only can I teach a kid, but I can teach an adult. And I'm also speaking and talking with women. I was able to get our women's self-defense program started as well. And the reason why I say that is because this martial art has helped me find my voice as well. Because this martial art has given me the confidence to stand up and say, you know what? I was able to do that on the mats. Why can't I get up and give a speech to somebody? And I tell you that because, and I'm not screaming to everyone to go to a martial art. If you do, come to my gym. I'll give you the number. But if you need to find something that makes you confident and realize that confidence cannot be taken away. And the biggest way to start that confidence, sit up straight. Walk into a room straight. Walk in like you know what you're doing. If you're hunched over and you are just looking like you are not confident, you are not giving yourself confidence. You're also making sure the world understands you're not confident either. Walk in straight, be confident in yourself, because being confident in yourself will give you that confidence to then sit and talk to people. And remember, public speaking is not just getting up in front of a stage. That's probably the scariest outcome for everybody. Public speaking is going to your local grocery store and talking to people there. Talk to the grocer who's bagging your bags. Say hello. What's with their life? I love talking to people. People are amazing because they have so many great stories. And the more you're able to talk to people, the more you're able to have that conversation, you're going to find getting up on a stage is going to be no big deal. Because you've been able to talk to people. You hear your voice. You know the questions to ask. You know, oh, okay, well, I heard this great story. Because remember, deep down, a speech is a story. A speech is a story. And we are storytellers. So let's step back for a second and think about, okay, why public speaking? Why are we having to understand why to use this? Because some people, especially nowadays, you've got your phone. If you look at any of these kids, I teach public speaking at 2 local colleges around here. And it's so funny because I taught this morning and as I was coming out, there's this, I have to call them a gaggle of teenagers, right? By the way, teenagers are amazing because especially now, getting them to stand up and talk, they're like, oh my dear God, no, right? They want to do well, but they're terrified because they're so used to texting on their phone. There's a gaggle of guys, and I think they're from the same school. Every class, still their masks on, they're in a circle, and they're on their phones after school, after class. And I always want to go up and be like, hey, what are you guys doing? Right? Because they're not talking to each other, they're talking through their phones. But think about it. When you have to articulate and talk to people, it's hard because now you've got a phone. Why wouldn't I just text you? Why shouldn't I just email you? But talking is actually more prolific, and it actually gives a person the ability to emotionally connect with you. Because think about it, we're emotional beings, right? We're emotional beings. We like to see your face, see how you're talking. Why do you think masks are so hard for some people? Because you don't see the full human emotion. And by having that human emotion, people can relate to you. So not only does your story play an important part, but also how you present that, okay? So there's 2 big things when you're looking at a speech. Your verbals and your nonverbals, okay? We've covered on a few verbals and nonverbals. Your one nonverbal, right now from the get-go, all of you, sit up straight. Sit up straight, walk in straight. Be confident in what you have to say. Because I can tell you, everything else I tell you is not going to have to be pulling too much weight. But there's also a lot more, right? Practice. Practice is a huge thing. And I know a lot of people are like, well, yeah, I get it, but I don't like it. The more you practice and the more you're able to hear yourself and your own voice verbalize something is going to make your presentation, one, sound much more less rehearsed and more natural, right? Because you're already going to know what to say. And two, you're able to add yourself to it, your authentic personality. Corporate world loves your authentic you, right? Which I love that idea. We are all individual people. There is no carbon copy. Even twins, there's no carbon copy. You are yourself. And you're speaking for a reason. And a lot of times there might be a topic that you don't want to talk on. So think about it. You're in your job and your boss asks you to give a speech on something you as a team are working on. Even if you might not be as excited about this topic, you still know what you're talking about. So again, to go back to that confidence, you know what you're talking about. You know this. You have knowledge. I don't. I'm here to learn from you. I'm not here to judge you. Unless you're my family, because they're judging me. You can tell we're close-knit, right? But no one's here to judge you. And whenever I get in talking with my kids, I always tell them 99.99% of the audience is there to cheer you on and support you. The 0.001%, whatever that math is, trust me, ask my family. Math? No. Marketing? Yes. That's just me grading you. So don't worry about it. You get me for a semester and then you are gone and you're done. Everyone else is going to be supporting you. And a lot of people say, okay, well, here's some tactics. Here's some things you need to do. Think of the audience naked. Don't ever do that. Don't do that. Please, for the love of God, don't ever do that. Because if you're gonna think like, oh, I'm gonna think everyone naked and I'm gonna be fine. If you do that, what if your CEO is sitting right in the front? That's kind of disgusting to think about, right? No. So here's some mind tricks that you can play for yourself, okay? Remember how I was saying confidence? I don't know if you all get that, confidence, right? But confidence is not something that you just suddenly have one day. It's a learned behavior as well. Just like public speaking is a learned skill and probably the best skill you can have in your arsenal. Confidence is something that you have to learn for yourself and do things to make yourself confident. If you know you have to give a speech, wear your favorite sweater. Put jewelry on that you like. Listen, my feeling is if I don't roll out of my jewelry box every day, there is a problem, right? I love jewelry. I base my outfits off the jewelry because that's who I am, right? I wear a colada all the time. And I've had this colada on since I was probably about 15 years old. And this colada was given to me by my grandmother. So a lot of times when I feel nervous, I'll touch it and I realize I'm not by myself. There is a family behind me, whether they like it or not, right? So wear something that reminds you about the people that support you, because that alone will give you confidence. Get out of your head and stop downgrading yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I hate to say it, as women, we are really great at demeaning ourselves. We are really great at saying, God, I'm fat. God, my hair, I wish it wasn't like this, or, I wish this, that. I mean, we nitpick on ourselves so much. Stop. My rule now is whenever anybody says anything negative about themselves, and I hold myself accountable too, you have to have 5 positives. You got to follow that with 5 positives about yourself. Because the more that you are able to say, and you don't have to be that person that's like, I'm cool, I'm awesome, love me, right? I might do that when I get on stage because it's fun, right? But be your own cheerleader. Be that person that cheers yourself on, because that's going to come out when you start speaking. That's going to come out in your voice. Be excited. Show emotion. Don't be, all right, I'm here to talk to you today about what we're going to be talking about, blah, 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 right? When you start getting that face and you don't show that you're excited to be there, the audience isn't going to be excited to be there. Be excited, smile. Even if in your head you are freaking out, show that you're excited and practice that you are excited, right? Know that it's okay to smile. And if something happens, who cares? We're human, right? Right now, I'm actually sitting in the dog and the cat's chair right now. So I am just waiting for one of them to announce themselves and be like, dude, you gotta go, right? But today, I have the chair, right? But it's life. And that's the other thing too. When we're learning how to talk and we're public speaking, the environment that we're in right now is very interesting, because we are in a pandemic that I don't think any of us could have planned. But we are in a pandemic in the sense of there's going to be an underlying stress all the time right now, because people are worried. They're worried that they're going to get sick. They're worried that they're not going to have a job. They're worried that, okay, so if I do get sick, what's going to happen to my family, right? Can I pay the mortgage? Can I pay my bills? There's an underlying stress right now. And it's not necessarily something you have to say, let's forget about it. It's something to know and acknowledge and understand that as you are going to present, people might be worried. Because remember, there's noises. There's different types of noises that people exhibit. All right. You have the physiological, the psychological, and the cultural. The physiological and the psychological you can't control, because that can be something, well, cultural you can't either. That can be something from how that person is feeling, either physically ill, like I don't feel good today, or I'm worried, I'm stressed, I just had an argument, or I just had a really great day, I just talked to somebody and I got this job I've been waiting for. You cannot control the emotions of people coming in. You cannot control the state of a room sometimes. We've all been into a room where you walk into that conference room and it is freezing. Like sometimes in the dead of summer, I will bring a winter coat into some of these meetings because it is so gosh darn cold, right? But as the speaker, you have to understand that. And you can acknowledge that and you can laugh. Letting people laugh is okay. Cultural, that's what they grew up with. Their mind frame. And some might meld with you, some won't. That's okay. But understanding all of this behind it, and granted, there's a lot more to it, but I have limited time and I know y'all can't stay here with me till 5. So there's a lot that goes into when people come in to see you and when you come in to talk to people. Understand that and acknowledge it and realize I can control what I can. I can't control what I can't. If I mess up, oh well. The beauty of a public speech, we don't have an outline to follow. You are in control of what you say. If you forget to say something, no one's going to raise their hand and say, excuse me, in the 3rd paragraph down from your introduction, you said you were going to talk about this, but you never did. Can you go back to that? Unless you want to give the full out paper, you go right ahead. But I can tell you right now, when I give public speeches, I'll be like, here's my topic. Let's go and talk. Right? And remember, question and answer, you can always go back to it. So remember, finding your voice is a lot more about finding that confidence behind your voice and realizing that the message you have to say is important. And nobody can downgrade that, because we are all so unique and amazing that we're going to learn something from somebody. But also remember, public speaking can be an interview. It can be just talking on a podcast. Public speaking is not in front of just a crowd. Public speaking now, look, I'm talking to you. All I'm seeing right now is my camera. But I know you're all there, right? I think talking on video is a lot harder because you can't see human emotion. So if you're someone who's just starting out and you're wanting to speak more and you know you're going to have to speak more, start talking in front of your friends. See their emotions. Learn to read a room is what a lot of people will say. But also start talking in front of your camera. It's really funny. So my cousin lives in Texas, right? And she texts all of us. She's like, hey, have you heard of this app called Marco Polo? I'm like, I'm like, girl, there's so many apps out there. I can't name anything. She's like, no, it's really cool. So she invited me, my brother, and my other cousin on because we just don't talk enough, right? This app is amazing for public speakers because it's a video recorded app. And basically what it is you record a message and it's live. You can't go back and erase it. You record a message, then you send it, and then they record a message back. So it's like texting video style, which is amazing because that is the best way to start practicing public speaking. Because we're perfectionists and we're like, okay, no, wait, stop, erase it, let's go back. No. Download Marco Polo, get a friend, get on Marco Polo, and just start learning how to talk on camera. That is probably going to be the best form of practice because it's with a friend. But then you get to see that video and you get to see, okay, I don't know if I necessarily like that. So maybe I'll try putting the camera up here. Oh, also, if you are going to be presenting, put it vertical, not horizontal. That's going to be the big one. But Marco Polo is probably, it's hilarious, okay? But it's fun because I get to see everyone's face. And because we are in a mask world right now, it is so refreshing to see faces. And yes, Lisa, I love Marco Polo. Isn't it great? It is hilarious. And like you can do different effects and everything, but for somebody who's just learning how to speak and you are trying to figure out, especially how to talk on the phone or video, Marco Polo is a great way to start because you get to connect with somebody, but just make sure that person you're connecting with has the app and will respond to you as well because it's so new for some people, right? Technology is amazing. We just have to learn how to use it. And for anyone speaking, I would not rely primarily on technology. Rely on yourself first and then use the technology as the components. So remember, you need to be confident in yourself. Confidence by bar none is really what I think is going to be the starting point to a really great public speaker. Because if you don't have the confidence in yourself, you're not going to be able to get up and talk. You can know everything you know about that subject, but that confidence needs to be there to have the knowledge to say yes and no. And sometimes it's so funny because I'll also do a lot of public speeches about women empowerment and jujitsu and why, being in a martial art is so great for me. I always have to make sure that I am aware that there are other martial arts out there and I respect all martial arts. But sometimes some people in the audience might not respect that fact with me and want to stump me. So now I need to understand, how do I deal with that? How do I respond to people, especially questions that might not be something I am confident enough to answer or not comfortable enough to answer, or I am confident to answer. So right now, when you're thinking about public speaking, know that if someone asks a question, they're not looking to stump you. They're probably just trying to compare. Like martial arts is a great one because martial arts, there's so many. You've got people from Taekwondo and karate, I think are the other two big ones that I've met. And a lot of times they're like, well, wait a minute. I'm a black belt in Taekwondo. Why? Like, explain to me what this other martial art is. Okay, let's do it. I'd love to talk about this topic. Let's dive deeper because I want to learn more about you. So understand questions are going to come. Answer them okay. Even if you're like, well, you know what? See me after. I'm not super, I want to talk about this further. Or you can even say, I'm not comfortable answering that question. I don't have enough information. I'll get back to you. Let me make sure I get your contact information so I can do some research. I think that is one of the biggest things people are afraid of when they're speaking as well. They're afraid that they're going to look like they don't know what they're talking about. And that's okay. You're up there for a specific reason. You are knowledgeable in that topic. But there might be some things that you might not be able to answer, and that's okay. Amy, imposter syndrome. Very, very good. I know I probably shouldn't be reading this stuff because I could probably get to the question and answer, but I love looking at when people are talking. Imposter syndrome is real. It's real in speaking. It's real in entrepreneurship. It's real in business. It's real everywhere, right? How do you get past that? And public speaking, because it's such a heightened feeling that you get sometimes because people are so aware, like, oh, I don't want to do this. Emotionally, you're heightened. And then you start self-doubting yourself. And then when you start self-doubting yourself, you're like, I can't do this. And then all of a sudden the fear starts coming in and the fear stops you. That's when your voice is gone. That's when you can't move. That's when you feel like jelly, right? I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I'm not going to say that I can walk into my jujitsu gym and because of the rank I am, a white belt's not going to beat me. Because they could be stronger. They could be having a great day and I could be not paying attention. I don't know, right? But you have to have confidence in yourself to know I'm up here speaking for a reason. There are a lot of public speaking coaches out there. There's a lot of people who are great at public speaking. But so am I. And I love it. And that passion that I love, and I love teaching it to people because let me tell you, when you suddenly realize that this is not something to be feared, but something that you can use, and it is the most powerful tool in your arsenal that you can have, when that light goes off, that is what gets me and motivates me. When people realize just how much more they can do, to me, that's worth it all. I went to, and I know that like some people, and I'm one of those people that I like to see, or I like to challenge myself more, right? I like to see, you know, what else can I do? So I signed up. There was this was a few years ago. There's a free training. It was a week. And it was led by a psychologist and a Navy SEAL. And the Navy SEAL got up the first challenge that first day. He's like, I'm pushing you out of your comfort zone, because I don't know if anyone, realizes the amount of training some of these Navy SEALs go through. I look at that and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even imagine surviving an hour what these men do, but they train, right? And so the Navy SEAL gets up and he says, here's your challenge for today. You're either going to do a 2-minute plank or 1,000 push-ups. Who would have done the 2-minute plank and who would have done the 1,000 push-ups? You had to do it because you signed up for it. Well, everybody I asked, they tend to say 2-minute plank, right? Well, I had the great idea saying, oh, 2-minute plank is too hard. I'm going to do 1,000 push-ups. I should have done the 2-minute plank. I know. Yeah, I should have done the 2-minute plank. But you know what, though? I started the 1,000 push-ups and I committed to it. I ended up starting the push-ups on the ground. The ending push-ups were like on the wall. And it was one of those like, I'm going to die. I'm shaking. But you know what? I learned something that day. When I commit mentally to something and I am going to be in pain doing it, I am going to finish it. And gosh darn it, I was going to finish those 1,000 push-ups. I don't ever want to do that again. But I learned from that I am a lot stronger mentally and physically than I thought I was. And it was comfortably uncomfortable. Jiu-jitsu is the same way. It's a very intimate art. You are super close to somebody. You're letting somebody into that bubble that we are naturally born with, saying, no, you get this close to me, you need to go away. But I've learned how to use this space to defend myself. And flipping people are just fun. I mean, let's just be completely honest. Flipping a guy over your shoulder is just so much fun. But I have the confidence that I know how to do that. So getting up and talking in front of people, that's what I go back to and say, listen, Annie, if you're having a problem speaking, realize, my God, not only do you have an army of family that are behind you, you have an army of friends and people that you train with that look up to you. And just, they have given me more confidence than I think they know that they've done. So yes, I can get through this 20-minute speech. Lisa, I can teach you. You come and see me, girl. I would teach you how to flip a guy over your shoulders. Maybe that could be the next WIN networking event. Come to my gym. But think about it. You have to work on you before you can influence anybody else. Your voice, you're born with your voice. finding it, I'm just reminding you've got it. So use it. Understand it's beautiful. You're beautiful, or handsome if you're a guy on here, right? You've got so much to say and you have so much knowledge to share that don't let the idea of failing make you not even do anything at all. So think about it. Think if you are in front of that Navy SEAL or me, because you know I'll hold it to you, girl. You give me an excuse, I will give you something back to counteract that excuse. So remember, you have an amazing story. You are an amazing person. And whether or not it is an inspirational speech, if it's a speech to teach someone what you do, or if it's just something where you are asked by your boss, hey, can you talk about this? You are asked to talk about something that you already know about. Unless you are in my class and I make you talk about something you have no idea what you're talking about, because I will stress my kids out enough that they can prepare for whatever life throws at them, you're fine. You can do this. And know that even if you forget everybody else, realize I am behind you. I think you have that ability to make that message you have to say amazing. So stop self-doubting yourself. Stop thinking that somebody is better. There's always a bigger fish. Yes, there's always a bigger fish, but today I'm that big fish. I don't know about tomorrow, but today I am. So remember, you are able to speak to anybody. Just start practicing. Start talking to people. Start hearing your own voice, but then start having that confidence to say, hey, how are you? Even if it's just seeing, whenever I see people and I love like the outfit or something, I always stop and I say, I love your outfit. Where did you get it? I have found more interesting people by doing that. And you just discover so much more, especially about Cleveland. Cleveland is such an amazing melting pot of cultures. And do you know we have a fashion district? I didn't know we had a fashion district, and it's thriving. There's so much out there in the world, and there's so much for you to give to it too. So remember, when you are giving a presentation, if you need help, you can definitely contact me. I'm more than happy to help you. But if you have to go out right before you go out, take a deep breath and say, I got this. I got this. Because you do. And again, thank you so much, everyone, for having me. I can talk about this all day. And any questions, you let me know. So thank you.